everyone, welcome to Secondhand Blasters. This is Normatico here, and tonight we are going to go all the way back to 2016 to discuss, if you can guess what this is for, you know what we're going to talk about. If you guessed the 2016 Nerf Rival Khaos, you are correct. This is the proprietary magazine for the Rival Khaos. As far as I can tell, this was never used again on any Rival Blaster, and it's both a shame and a good thing because even though this does hold up to 40 rounds, it does have a little bit of a design flaw that I'm going to go ahead and point out. Of course, it has these four little notches back here that you slide down to bring the balls down, and that lets you get ready to load up more ammunition in here. The design flaw is when it comes to opening up this top section right here. This top section, of course, does have a hinge, and it has a little peg here that ideally you'd be able to push down, and that should allow you to just pop this right open. However, that peg is solid, and to pop it open, you literally have to pull up, and hopefully this does not explode on me. There you go. It is quite a little bit of pressure, so that you have to pull to actually push that up and not rip it off the spring completely. So when it's done correctly, it does work. Of course, doing this, the balls go back up into their ready to fire position. So it does work. The reason I say it's kind of an engineering issue is because if you don't set this up properly, it is very easy to go play 40 rival ball pickup when they just fly up out of here, and that's it. You have to pick up all of your rounds off the ground. It's kind of a pain. And once you actually do set it up, even if you do have this locked open, there is a little button that may be accidentally triggered that launches everything all over again. So I think that's probably why they stopped using it. Not to mention, this is a pretty big magazine. It's kind of hefty extra to be picking around. Loading it, of course, it is kind of self-explanatory. You just slide it in, and there you go. And you do have the mag release right here. Now, this is a flywheel blaster, and it is operated with 6 D batteries. It does come with a removable battery tray in case you don't want to use the D batteries. You can actually get the rechargeable battery that fits the Nemesis, and I want to say the Perseus as well. So you can actually swap that battery in there, and you are good to go with a rechargeable. It does have the long Picatinny rail up top. So if you wanted to go ahead and drop in the red dot sight that is the Rival brand one, it fits up there nicely. Also, I believe you can go ahead and fit some of the standard Nerf Tactical attachments as well. And it does come with the flip-up iron sights as such. I will say that it would have been nice had Rival Nerf actually made more attachments for the Rival series so that you don't have to use the, how can I say it, kitty looking scopes, and they don't really fit the best on the Rival rails. You cannot really use Picatinny on here without an adapter. Of course, there is a Rival rail down here, which you'll see that I've actually used the grip light. It's one of those things that with the vertical grip, this makes it much easier to hold because this is a pretty large blaster. It is also relatively heavy when you have all the batteries inside. The stock weight on this empty is 3 pounds, which, mind you, that doesn't sound like too much to carry around, but it can get hefty after a while. It does not have a attachment for you to attach it to a sling, which is kind of a disadvantage because something this big, you're going to want to have some sort of sling point attachment. That way you're not running around just like this at all times in a Nerf battle. On top of that, with the 40 rounds, this is a great primary. However, in order for you to grab your secondary, you're going to have to either drop this on the ground or put it somewhere safe because at $70 MSRP, you wouldn't have wanted to damage this blaster. Now, it is no longer 2016, and this is no longer $70. You can find it online. I have seen these go for as low as $15 as a starting bid on eBay. I've also seen people get rid of these at $25 on the Facebook Marketplace, which is where I got mine. Facebook Marketplace, I will tell you, it's a wonderful source to find a lot of secondhand blasters from people who are just looking to offload their collection because they've either outgrown them or it's parents whose kids have moved away to college and they're like, hey, let me get rid of these toys. Little do they realize just how low they're selling them for and how big the aftermarket is for purchasing older blasters, because I've seen some of these go for some really high prices that people have actually paid for. Now, the iron sights, I will say, they do flip up really well, and we are good to go. Now, being a flywheel blaster that is on the rechargeable battery, I'm not expecting a very high FPS on this. I'm going to put it somewhere in the 90 range. Of course, you can modify it to do a LiPo conversion, which will probably boost the range a little bit more. If I was to use the actual D-cell, I guess, battery well, I could put the 3.7 volt batteries in there and overcharge this thing and get a lot faster than what the rechargeable battery has on this. But I'm going to actually just run it stock so we can do a great little review here so you see what you get when you purchase this blaster. Up next, we're going to do the chronograph, and afterwards I'm going to try to do an accuracy test, and let's see if my feet hold up for a distance test. Okay, so at the behest of Miss Normatico, we're going to actually test to see how quickly we can unload this entire magazine. There are 40 rounds in here. Now it's empty. All right, so we are back with another little test here. I did that speed test as a little added bonus there on behest of Miss Normatico. We're actually going to do an indoor accuracy test on the Khaos. Of course, as always, I'm going to be aiming down to the little gap there between the two doors. We're going to do controlled bursts as well as one sustained burst and see just how accurate this thing can be. I have a big mess to pick up right now. Stay tuned for the results. All right, so we are out at a different parking lot this time than we normally go to. And we are going to be testing the range. I have actually measured it out. It is 10 feet per parking spot. That is going to be the unit of measurement that I gauge to see just how far we can shoot with the Khaos. We are going to do shots at an angle and straight shots as well. Angle shot. Now we got the ball that bounced, and it is actually being pushed back towards us by the wind. So we are going to adjust for that. And now we're going to do the straight shot as well. We're going to go do a quick ball recovery. We're going to measure the distance, and we'll be right back. Now, I will tell you that I am dealing with a 10-mile wind that it was pointing towards us, so that definitely slowed down the angled shot. I could actually see it when it shot up that it went from a normal straight to then just suddenly being scooped up by the wind, where it slowed down significantly. So we're gonna have to take this one with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, the weather up here in Central Ohio is not cooperating with us today, but I want to make this video anyways because that doesn't stop us. We're Nerfers. We play either rain, sleet, snow, hail. We're going to be playing with our blasters. So these are the numbers that you get when it is a rainy day out. Up next, the final thoughts on the Khaos. Alright, so I am back with my final thoughts regarding the Khaos. I'll be honest with you, the weight is my main issue with this blaster. It is pretty heavy. I'd hazard that this is about 5 pounds with the battery pack inside of it. The problem with that comes to the fact that you have no place here to attach a sling point, not without doing an extreme modification on the actual shell of the blaster. And as far as I know, they do not make any tactical rail attachments that you can go ahead and attach a sling to. So when you are running it with this in a combat situation, you are having to hold this. Of course, using the flashlight grip, it does go ahead and actually make it easier to hold and to load. The magazine, all the problems that I said about it earlier aside, it's okay. I like the fact that you can hold 40 rounds in a magazine. It's easier than actually pulling out 4 individual 10-round magazines. And you don't have to worry about a hopper either. This way you can actually see where your ammo is at and what the level is, as opposed to having an internal hopper or an external hopper. So there's that. I do like the fact that the rate of fire is not obnoxiously fast. You can actually control a burst fire. The only thing that I did notice was a little bit of a trigger lag. Of course, this is a second-hand blaster, hence my name, Second-Hand Blasters. So I don't know if that's something that exists across the entire line or just this particular one. The pricing itself, I paid $25 for this. I paid $5 for the flashlight attachment, which was new in box. So I'm out $30 for this blaster. Am I upset that I paid $30 for everything? Absolutely not, because this retailed at $70, and I'll tell you, this is definitely close to a $70 blaster as far as I'm concerned. However, I don't know if I would have been willing to have paid that much even when it was brand new. The sights, the iron sights, it is pretty accurate. I will tell you that in the hallway, from what I was able to see, we were hitting the majority of the balls within that target range or within an acceptable variance. Obviously, when we did the full auto mode, there were quite a few that hit outside of the target area, but even then, they were not so far off target that I would say this is an inaccurate blaster. I would just say that full auto, it does what any standard full auto weapon would do, and that is create a kind of a spread of the fire. It also could have been a simple matter of, when I was breathing, just simple micro movements of my body that caused me to go off target a little bit. The distance, that was disappointing, but again, I understand that there is a pretty decent mile-per-hour gust, and like I said, I measured it at 10 miles per hour. So when you have 10 miles per hour against a soft, spongy ball, it is going to push back and not make it go as far. As I saw, that ball actually started to go upwards at the angle that I shot it at, and then it lifted up even higher, which caused the drag. And I noticed that when it bounced, it rolled back. At one point in time, it rolled back over 20 feet. I actually had to remeasure it just to make sure, and had G-Rex stand out there to tell me exactly where it landed because of how far the rollback was. So I'm not going to take marks off of this for distance, even though I'm able to get farther with other blasters. So I understand that, you know what, look, sometimes we have to play through adverse conditions. That's why I did the test anyways. I didn't wait for it to be a sunny day. Oddly enough, of course, I've said in the videos in the past that I am in Central Ohio. The rule of thumb in Ohio is that if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. It's going to get better. In fact, the sun's already starting to come back out again. So, only to set. So, in regards to this blaster, if you can find it at a decent price and you really want to have a flywheel Nerf Rival blaster, go for it. They're not that expensive to find online. You can actually find these on the Facebook Marketplace. People tend to get rid of these because they are bulky, they are a little bit heavy, and they've either grown out of it and don't realize that, hey, Nerf is for everyone, doesn't matter what your age is, or they just got something new and want to make space in their closet for it. So I do like this blaster. I will say that the Rival blasters, they did get better after this one. This is when they were quote-unquote inaccurate, so compared to the newer Rival blasters, such as the Pathfinder or the Forerunner or even the Fate, it is not as accurate, but, you know, for short distances, it's not bad. I want to thank you all for watching Secondhand Blasters. This has been Normatico. Until next time, keep on blasting.